let's be rowdy.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel. Today I want to talk about something that I'm sure you guys have heard about. It's been in the news extremely a lot lately, and it's healthcare. It looks like a lot of you guys have been sick. There's been some sort of like polio-like symptoms going around the Bay Area. So just in case something like that happens to any of you guys, do you have health insurance? Could you afford it? Would something like that be covered? Stuff like that. And those are the kind of questions that have been raised lately in our society, and that have been touched upon by President Barack Obama, and they've been trying to push that forward. But the problem with that is there's always two sides to the debate, depending on what news you're watching, depending on where you're getting your information from. You don't necessarily know what to believe. So today I'm going to talk about it a little bit in what exactly it is. So in 2009, President Barack Obama in a joint session in Congress mentioned that he suffers no illusion that the process will be easy, and that it will be hard. And 5 years later, that pretty much remains true. It's still getting a lot of opposition to it, and it will continue down the line. And part of the reason they continue to get a lot of opposition is because there's a lot of false things being said about what exactly it is. So to begin with, the current press for the healthcare system is not called Obamacare. It's actually called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And I feel like if that's kind of what it was commonly referred to, people might have some sort of different idea of what exactly it does. So that's first things first. It's the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And along with that, there comes a lot of things. But the first is that, for some way, somehow, it's some sort of universal healthcare system that's going to move the country towards socialism and communism and take away all your rights, and first it's this, and then it's your guns, and then it's everything else. So the first thing I wanted to mention is from an article from the Atlantic, and what it mentioned is that a lot of countries have a universal healthcare system, and the U.S. is not one of them. So these are the countries right here. The countries in gray do not have the universal healthcare systems, and the countries in green do. So as you can tell, the United States is not one of them. Even with the Affordable Care Act, it is still not a universal healthcare system. There is still no free healthcare. And because of that, the United States, according to the World Health Organization, ranks 37th in terms of the overall effectiveness of healthcare. So 37th in the world. The richest country has the 37th most efficient healthcare system, which is kind of a contradiction. And to make it even more of a contradiction, per capita expenditures, the United States spends more money on healthcare per person than any other country, yet it is very inefficient. And the reason why is because, well, although we technically do have some of the best healthcare to give, it's just not widely available, and because of that, our ranking is extremely low. And the reason for that is, well, because it's not universal at all. It has a lot to do with how much money you have and if you can afford it or not. Moving forward, probably one of the biggest arguments about it is how much it costs to run this healthcare system. And the Congressional Budget Organization put out a report a few years back, and this is initially when it first started, and they said that over a 10-year period, the healthcare system would actually pay for itself, because you have so many people that now don't necessarily have to go to the emergency room and get healthcare and then just leave, and somebody else has to take up the tab. Once everybody's insured, then nobody's paying for them other than themselves or their own insurance company. So over time, that'll help, and as well as preventative care. It's kind of it's one of the things that it did is add something that says that insurance companies must give you some sort of preventative care, which if you're gonna have something like cancer, and if you catch it early, it's gonna be a lot more. It's gonna be a lot cheaper to if it's diagnosed early. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was a few things in healthcare that people aren't necessarily aware of, that I feel is very humane, and if you take a step back, they're very justified. Money aside, just things aside, and it kind of holds insurance companies accountable. And one of them is you're allowed to stay on your healthcare plan until you're 26, or you're on your parents' healthcare plan until you're 26. So all you guys in this room, if you graduate and you don't find a job yet, because obviously it's pretty tough to find a job, you're allowed to stay on your parents' healthcare system, and that kind of allows you to continue to go to school, maybe go to graduate school, and without necessarily have to worry about those things. So that seems pretty fair. But the next couple is something that holds insurance companies accountable, and that's basically what's called the Patient Protection Act, is because if you have a pre-existing condition, if you're under the age of 19 before, the health insurance company could deny you and not give you insurance. And we've all necessarily heard of stuff like this, kind of maybe if you watch a lot of movies where people are trying to pay for their children's health care and they can't afford it, so they're trying to raise all this money. Well, they can't really do that to you anymore, and that to me seems pretty fair. And the last one is a lifetime limit. So if you do have something like cancer or something like that, and after a few years of the insurance company paying for you, it used to be illegal for them to say, whoa, we're sorry, like you're costing us way too much money, no more health insurance for you, which seems, it doesn't seem very humane, honestly. They're pretty much saying, go ahead and die because we're not going to pay for you. And then you have all these people running out, trying to raise money, trying to do this and that to pay for you, which seems a contradiction in our society, whereas people are compassionate as individuals, but very cruel in masses. So it's kind of a balancing act. But the reason that it's contradicting is because a lot of the information that's thrown at people is very biased, and a lot of it leans towards the money aspect of it. And when people worry about their money, they're not necessarily thinking about the life and the health of somebody else until it happens to their own family. Thank you.